Hi folks, welcome back to Stacey CAN CAN. Today I am making a blood orange shrub. Blood orange because it's got a beautiful kind of red color and kind of something fun to do right before Valentine's Day. So nice coloring there. What are shrubs? They are a cocktail mixer. So you can either use it with a cocktail or just over, say, some sparkling water or what have you on that to make it a non-alcoholic version, but just kind of give you a fun different little flavor, kind of zhuzh up your sparkling waters. They are made with equal parts of a fruit, often a citrus, but they do have raspberry and strawberry ones, but I'm using blood orange today. Equal parts of the fruit, equal parts sugar, often white sugar, or there's some that use brown sugar. I haven't really seen any with honey, but maybe you can find one for that. And then also an acid of some sort. So and most of them I've seen have apple cider vinegar, but I also have one that I'm going to be using that calls for balsamic vinegar. So there's a bunch of different recipes. I'll have both of these recipes down below in the notes. So the things you're going to need are your fruit. Blood oranges are in right now, and I got some beautiful ones, so I'm going to give those a whirl. We're making little small batches here just to have fun with the flavors. So you'll need your fruit. You're going to need a knife. You're going to need your acids of apple cider. I have both apple cider and balsamic vinegar. A non-reactive container to put them in. So you can use a regular glass from your cupboard. I really like when I'm doing infusions to do that in glass. It just works really well. It's a non-reactive container, and that's important. Plastics I don't like because it bleeds into the plastic, and then your plastic pitcher or whatever smells horribly for a while. So I just prefer to keep all of the goodness in with a glass container. That's just me. So, and we've got our sugar. You're also going to need either a wooden spoon or a muddler to kind of muddle all this stuff around and stir it up together. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm doing is peeling this blood orange. You see the color there? Isn't that pretty? And this one is for I'm using this one with the balsamic vinegar recipe. I'm going to try to remove kind of a lot of this pith just for bitterness purposes. And then we're going to cut them all into sort of halves and thirds. Throw them into the glass container that I have here. And I'm using this one because it's actually a cocktail glass, but I like it because it's got some measurements here. It does show it in ounces, but we're just going to give that a whirl. And I'm going to use my cocktail muddler, and we're just going to kind of muddle it down to sort of get it all juiced. And I'm not too worried about the seeds in here. We're just going to move it along. This equals about a half of a cup. It's 4 ounces of the juice and fruit mixture. I am going to get as much of this deliciousness out as possible. And now I'm going to add a half a cup of sugar to go in here. And I'm going to muddle this together a little bit. And you can let this set for up to 24 hours if you like. Some people do more than others. Some people don't. And we're going to give this a good stir. The purpose of letting it sit overnight is that the sugar will then extract as much juice as possible. So if you have time to do it, great. If not, if you can let it set for a few hours, I think that would be best. So that's what we've got here. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on it. And I will set this off to the side. So the next recipe with the apple cider vinegar, we're going to just juice these. Check out that color. Isn't that pretty? I'm not worrying about the seeds because we are going to strain it. So you can use a little handy dandy strainer if you have one. You do want the pulp in here, so make sure you get as much pulp in here as possible. Now you see I've got about 4 ounces of the juice. I'm going to go ahead and pour that into my container. And then I'm going to add 4 ounces equals a half cup. I'm adding a half a cup of sugar to this too. And I'm going to go ahead and stir this up. I'm using the muddler for it, but you can use a spoon or what have you. So I'm giving these a bit of a stir, making sure that all of the sugar has dissolved. And it really has. This one is obviously, it's a little bit more syrupy because it's got big chunks of the blood orange in it. And this one, because I juiced it and didn't add in all of the chunks here, it's a little bit runnier, which is fine. So this is more of a 1-to-1 ratio that I'm doing here, 1-to-1-to-1. 1 part fruit, 1 part sugar, 1 part equal parts of the acid or the vinegar here. So it does show in the recipe, this particular recipe, that, you know, I'm not going to put all of it in. I'm gonna leave a little bit out because they do highly recommend that you give it a taste. So, because blood oranges have a little bit of a softer flavor, so they do recommend that you give it a taste. That is really good. I'm gonna go ahead and add all of the vinegar in though, just for fun. Once you've added all of the mixture together and you've got enough vinegar in it to your taste liking, go ahead and put a lid on it, and you can store it in the refrigerator if you want, but it is shelf stable. So you can put it on, just leave it out on the counter. And often with infusions, I do like to put them in kind of a cool, dark place, so they're out of the sunlight and such, just to give a good infusion. And I'll do the same with this as well. So the balsamic vinegar recipe here is actually calling for a cup of balsamic. So it's a 1/2 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of the fruit, and then a cup of the balsamic vinegar, which I kind of think is a lot, but we'll give it a whirl. I'm going to go ahead and pour it in, measure out a full cup, but I am going to test it as I go. As you can see, I went ahead and used all of the vinegar because it's very, very tasty. The other thing that is really important with the shrubs is you do want to leave them on the counter for at least 3 days to a week, and it depends. Go ahead and taste them after a few days and see how it's doing, but that's what it's going to be, and you want to leave it up to a week. I wouldn't do it any longer than that. It's been a week, and the shrubs are done kind of infusing together. So I'm going to go ahead and strain these through a cheesecloth, or actually I'm using a sieve, but you can use a cheesecloth or a jelly bag or what have you. I'm just going to use the sieve because it works fine enough to me, and it'll take some of the big chunks out of it. Move stuff out of the way. I'm going to take the back of the spatula and kind of make sure to push all the goodness around. That's all the goopy stuff that didn't smush out. Okay, so I'm setting that off to the side, and I have this cute little bottle that I'm going to pour it into. And voila! This is the apple cider blood orange shrub. Check that out, isn't that pretty? Here's the balsamic vinegar blood orange shrub. Now this is quite thick, and it's very dark, obviously, but you can see hints of that fantastic blood orange in there too. And I'm just kind of pressing in just to make sure we get all of the good stuff out of it. This one's very syrupy. Then here's what the solids look like inside the sieve. So it's quite a bit. I'm going to take a quick taste. That's really good. That's really good. These would also be really good as a salad dressing too, if you wanted. But I can tell it'll be a great addition to a cocktail for sure. And this is the Blood Orange Shrubs. This one is the apple cider vinegar shrub, and this one here is obviously the balsamic vinegar shrub. You can tell by the color. You know, some of the recipes I've seen say that it's shelf stable, so you don't need to have refrigeration. One of the recipes, I can't remember which one, says to refrigerate. So I am going to refrigerate these just because it's better to be safe than sorry. but they are quite delicious. This one definitely has more of a syrupiness to it. I think if I were to do it again, I wouldn't add as much balsamic vinegar. However, they're very tasty and they would be fantastic in a cocktail or over sparkling cider, or even as a salad dressing, to be honest, or you can use them as a glaze or whatever. They really are quite versatile. Kind of fun to have in your pantry, or actually have in your refrigerator as for something fun to use. So here you go, folks, and look how pretty. This one especially, but this one actually you can't really see on the screen here, but it really does have kind of a reddish background tint to it. So I think after you pour it over some ice and into a glass, I think that redness will really pop out there for it too. So thanks so much for joining me today. And if you have any questions, comments, both recipes are below, as are so to check to see how to do it, as are some other instructions. And please like and subscribe as well. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, by all means, you can reach out to me. I'm on Facebook at Stacey CAN CAN. My Instagram and TikTok is, you can @ me at Stacey CAN CAN. My website is www.staceycancan.com, and my email is info@staceycancan.com. Thanks so much again for joining me today, and until next time, happy canning.